Hey everyone, it's Intel here. So YouTubers have been using texture packs as a way to increase FPS for a while now. There are tons of videos out there on YouTube of texture packs that are specifically made to boost your FPS. However, there seems to be a ton of confusion on the validity of these FPS texture packs and how much they actually affect FPS. In a recent community post that I made referencing a video like this, there seemed to be a lot of disagreement in the comments about how texture packs really affect FPS. There's even a video by Tenebris that isn't exactly all that accurate because of the testing that I used in that video. So in today's video, I finally want to debunk the claim, do texture packs really affect FPS, and if so, by how much? Anyways, with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So I'm going to start off using 4 different packs for my testing. So we have Rivet Private Default, which is a 16x quote-unquote FPS pack that I got from Notre Dame's channel. We have RKY32X, Soul Silver 64X, and finally Celestial 256X. So all these are scaling in resolution. All these are pretty popular packs within the PvP community, so this should give us a pretty accurate representation of what your average player would use. Also, I'm going to put the link to all these packs in the description below, so make sure to check them out if you want any of these packs. Moving on to my methodology of testing, and this was going to be a really big deal because depending on how I tested these packs, I'd get different results. In Tenebris's video on this topic, he just looked at one specific area with all the packs that he used, but that isn't exactly accurate because that doesn't show how a texture pack truly behaves when you're doing stuff like PvPing, building, whatever. So on screen right now, you are seeing a replay mod clip that's being played in first person. On the left is Rivet Private Default, which is our 16x FPS boosting pack, and on the right is RKY32X. Using the replay mod is a really accurate way to test this because you can essentially recreate the exact same environment using real world gameplay. So what I want you guys to notice is how my FPS differs depending on the location that I am in the map. What I noticed is that in areas with a lot of void around me, I was getting up to 15% higher FPS on the 16x pack than compared to the 32x pack. On the other hand, PvPing inside of the structure at mid had a lot less of a difference, usually between a 2% and a 5% increase on the 16x pack. I'm gonna go ahead and let the benchmark finish, and then we will move on to our next comparison. Alright, so running the same test, except now we have all 4 packs compared against each other. So in the top left, we have the 16x Rivet Private Default pack. Top right, we have RKY32X. Bottom left is Soul Silver 64X, and bottom right is Celestial 256X. So the 32, 64, and 256X pack had very similar averages with each other. There was a lot less of a difference comparing 32x to 256x than there was comparing 16x to 32x. Once again, the 16x pack did stand out in these results. I noticed that the 256x pack got the lowest FPS at some point with around 313, 312 FPS. However, this was in a very close margin when compared to the 32 and 64x pack, so it wasn't a huge difference. But yeah, overall, it looks like the 16x FPS boosting pack is definitely holding its ground here, but I was surprised to see how the 32, 64, and 256x packs behaved pretty similarly with each other. So just for fun, I decided to test the 16x FPS pack against Are You Mad LOL's ultimate 1x1 FPS pack, and the results were virtually the same. There was nothing that I could consider an increase in FPS going from 16x to 1x. Weirdly enough, the 16x FPS pack actually beat the 1x1 FPS pack in certain parts of the benchmark. So ultimate FPS pack, more like average FPS pack. Okay, but Intel, I don't have a super good PC like you do. I play on a pretty average laptop. Are these going to be the same results that I get? Well, I'm glad that you asked because we are not done testing. I'm gonna run these same benchmarks on my school laptop, which has a dual-core processor and integrated graphics, and we're gonna see if the results are any different, so I will see you guys after I'm done with those tests. Alright, so I did a bunch of testing on my laptop, and there are a few noticeable observations. Firstly, the 1x1 texture pack actually did have a noticeable increase in FPS over the 16x16 one. It was getting as much as 15% more FPS over the 16x one during certain parts of the test. The 32 and 64x packs compared very similarly to each other, but ultimately fell behind the 16x one. On average, they're only getting about 5% less FPS than the 16x one. And then finally, the 256x pack suffered the most. It was getting noticeably less FPS than all of the other packs. Compared to the 1x1 pack, it was getting as much as 50% less FPS. Alright, so before I give my conclusion, I'd just like to say that using the replay mod wasn't the only way that I tested these packs. I also played on each of them extensively during my own time. If you have a good PC like myself, then going below 16x is probably going to have diminishing returns for you. During my testing, I didn't notice any substantial gains going from 16x to 1x no matter what I did. However, the 16x FPS pack that I used did prove to have better FPS than any of the higher res packs that I tried. If you're playing on an underpowered laptop, then yeah, having a lower resolution texture pack is gonna help. I got the most FPS on the 1x1 texture pack with my laptop, however, would I recommend that? Definitely not. I think 16x is still a fair compromise, especially when compared to the other higher resolution texture packs. Let me be clear, 16x did have better FPS by 32 and 64x, but not by a huge margin. It was just a little. And then finally, this should be common sense to everyone, but using HD texture packs like 128x and above is not a good idea if you're looking for FPS. Now, I do still think that FPS packs are way too clickbaited, especially on YouTube, and people exaggerate them to have way more benefits than they actually do. However, that was exactly the point of this video, to show what the actual benefits are to using a quote-unquote FPS texture pack. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. This sort of took me a little while more to make than usual, but anyways, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.